I like that beat a lot. I really like that beat. Not for himself. I'm not at all. Yeah. What's the deal, everybody? Hope y'all are right out there. It's your boy Shane G. Just a little chat for anybody who wants to stop by and who maybe needs to hear something. This is a mental health check. So we can really get into it, man. The thing that made me want to do this was I think this is something that kind of applies to people in general, but I kind of want to focus on the fellas today. You know what I'm saying? Who do you vent to when you're going through something mentally, or when you are struggling with stress or with anxiety or any of those things? Who do you go to for just words of encouragement, or do you have people that you can go to for help? And do you utilize those things before the problems get out of hand? So the reason I bring all this up is because this morning, actually, a friend of mine hit me up, and this is somebody who's known me for a long time too, so that's definitely something to keep into account. This is a very good homeboy of mine, you know what I mean, and y'all know him. So but he hit me up this morning, and he was just, he was basically saying something very regular to me. Very regular. He didn't say anything insulting. He didn't say anything disrespectful, of course, because like I just said, that's my dog. So, the reason I'm setting it up that way is because he hit me up, like he does on a lot of mornings, and, had a very reasonable statement that he made, something that we're working on together. He was like, yo, we should do something with this. And the response that I sent him was just over the top. It was just totally unwarranted. And I kind of, what ended up happening was I just unloaded a lot of stuff that I'd been holding in for, a while. And I just kind of unloaded on him through a text. Like I just sent him a long ass text. And then I was like, I kind of sat there on it for a minute, and then I hit him up, and I was like, hey, my bad, man. I didn't mean for that to like come out that way, and I wasn't trying to unload on you like that. Like, I'll do the thing that we just talked about, like, you know what I'm saying? And then the very next thing he said was call me. So I hit him up. I'm like, what's good? And, I kind of was explaining some of the things that, have been going on personally or whatever. And he just was able to just kind of talk to me, in a way that I needed to be spoken to in that moment, you know what I mean? Because again, we go so far back, like, I'm 36, so 20 years of friendship at this point. So he knew that clearly I needed to talk to somebody, or I needed to express myself. So he was, so we ended up having a conversation, and he was like, yo, like, you got to evaluate the people around you, because, if they're not there for you, in a, when you need it, basically, or like, when you're on your, when, I'm trying to be vague on purpose, but basically, if you're in a situation that you need help with, and you can't call nobody, then maybe you need to evaluate your circle. And I told him, It's not that I can't call nobody, it's that I don't feel like I should have to call, or I don't feel like I should call anybody. Because I often compare myself to other people's situations, and I'm like, well, they wouldn't have to call anybody. They could just do it. Or they didn't have to, or they didn't have the option to rely on anybody else. They had to figure it out for themselves, different things like that. So it's like I always try to take that route. And what he was telling me is, yeah, but if you've exhausted all those options, then what? What do? You know what I mean? He was like, so that's your pride getting in the way. And I really think that's the whole thing that I want to talk about. How, yes, pride can be a good thing in certain cases, but a lot of times I think pride comes at the detriment of men. We let pride get in the way of a lot of progress, I think. If you know that somebody is willing and able to help you do something, and you choose not to seek that help, that is a choice that you're making. And that is based on pride. It's based on you don't, want people to think differently of you or feel like you are, not, handling shit the way it's supposed to be handled, or whatever the case is, right? You just don't want people to think negatively of you, especially close people, and then especially also if they're not in the same situation. Again, I'm speaking mostly to fellas. We have a tendency to we compete. We're very competitive with each other. So if we see somebody doing better than us, we don't want to ask that person for help. You know what I'm saying? We're actually embarrassed of it a lot of times. We're like, dang, if I have to ask for help, then I'm less than. That's sort of the whole thing. You know what I mean? And especially with, the internet out there, a lot of people on social media, portray false lifestyles and things of that nature. And that can be very misleading at times. You know what I mean? People may seem like they're doing a lot better than they actually are. And people who are doing very well, a lot of times, don't brag about it online or on social media and things like that, so you don't even see it. So most what you see is a sort of an illusion and a facade anyway, but I don't think today I would have come to a lot of the conclusions that I came to, as far as like, yeah, some of this is on me just trying to be prideful and trying to, because there's a lot of pride and a lot of positive attributes are placed on people who got it out the mud or did it on their own, or whatever like that. Like, those people get praised most of the time. That's why we like rags to riches stories. You know what I'm saying? If somebody comes from the dirt, the inner city, the ghetto, survived getting shot 9 times, used to have to sell drugs because there were literally no other opportunities to make money, and you're ducking police and enemies and all of this kind of stuff. Like, if you come from that environment and you make it to become a Jay-Z or a Snoop Dogg, of course that needs to be celebrated, because the odds of that happening are very low. So we fall in love with that story of, adversity and, got it out the mud, that whole mentality. So it's like a lot of us feel like we can't get help from people. We have to do it on our own, because we're obsessed with this whole, I did that. You know what I mean? Being a boss, like, I'm the one in charge, like, all of that kind of stuff. Like, a lot of people, I feel like it messes with our judgment a lot of times, because we want to be seen one way, and we feel like if we do certain things, which are not even unreasonable, because literally everyone on earth needs help at a certain point, and nobody actually does anything on their own. Nobody does anything on their own ever, really, except for when you're sitting there and thinking, or when you're sitting, like, unless you're in a room by yourself, coming up with a plan, that you might have did that on your own, but executing the plan, you're always going to need other people. So a lot of these things I wouldn't have, I would have maybe came to these conclusions, but probably not today. Like, as far as me realizing that my pride actually gets in the way of my own progress at times. Like, I never thought of myself like that. But then when I was explaining to my man the situation, you know, and he put it right back to me plainly, like, you realize those are choices you're making, right? Like I told you, if you don't have people around you that you could reach out to in a moment of need, then you need to reevaluate your circle. And I said, no, I know for sure I can reach out to certain people. I just don't do it. He goes, then you're making a choice at that point. And while I understand where the choice is coming from, just realize you are making a choice consciously to not accept help that could be there. So if we didn't have that conversation today, and if he didn't respond in the way that he did, you know what I'm saying, realizing like, yo, he kind of flew off the handle and this is very abnormal. So let me call him and actually see what's going on. You know, and especially, you know, somebody who is a little bit closer to that get it out the mud story. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who it's like, you know, they had to do certain things and you know what I mean? Like all the whole thing. Like, whereas, you know, any sort of activities like that I was involved in was completely by choice. It was sort of the same thing, trying to fit in, trying to, you know, be a part of something, you know, all of that kind of stuff. So I think to hear it from somebody like that made it more impactful also. So that's my question to y'all is, do y'all have that person in your life? Is there somebody like that that you can talk to, you know, when you need to? Yeah, because I really think that's important. I feel like the more you hold things in, the more stress builds up and the more it affects you physically. You know, that's really what happens. You know, when they say stress kills you, stress causes cancer and things like that, that's real. You know what I mean? And a lot of that for men comes from just built up tension over the years and never having a proper release for it. And then it ends up coming out in lash out moments where we get in a scrap with somebody or we cuss somebody out who doesn't deserve it. And that's not necessarily what happened this morning. I ain't cussing out. I was just like, I just hit him with a lot of stuff that, you know what I'm saying? I was just like, with a text. Like, he sent me one sentence and I sent him 10 back. It was like, it was that. So, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's really all I got, man. Like, just really think about, you know, who that person is in your life and, you know, be grateful for that because not everybody has that. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody has an actual really good friend who's going to realize, like, he needs to talk. Call me when you get a second. You clearly you need to, you have to talk and let me help you maybe navigate some of this. Let me help you figure some of this out. You know what I'm saying? Let me help you think about it a little differently. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to my dog. You know what I'm saying? He knows who he is. And yeah, man, this is Ethos Media Network. I hope you like, you share, and you subscribe for all the new latest content. Appreciate everybody who's been checking out the interviews with OK Mateo and OK Zach. Those are live on the channel. And definitely appreciate everybody who's been, you know, keeping up with all the latest episodes of Bar Exam and all the latest episodes of OTI, Open to Interpretation, and all the episodes of Politics as Usual. You know, we'll have some more shows coming for y'all. But in the meantime, you know, we rocking, you know, so let me know if y'all want me to, you know, keep doing these different live streams and just talking about different subjects, you know, like I just really wanted to get this off my chest because, you know, because it just happened this morning as far as the conversation that I had. And I was like, you know, I want to share this with people, you know, while I have it fresh on my mind, you know what I mean? So yeah, man, Shane G, Ethos Media Network. Follow me on Twitter, or X now, I guess, and Instagram and Threads, Shane_Ethos. Follow us as a collective at Ethos Media Network on all of those same platforms. And until next time, I'm gonna get at y'all. I appreciate y'all. appreciate those who got your back and who will listen when you need to vent. You know what I mean? This is very important. Don't hold that in. Don't hold that stress in. Fellas, don't hold the stress in. You gotta let it out. All right? Talk to somebody.